Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for BroadwayWorld. Terrence McNally's Lips Together, Teeth Apart is back in New York, this time at Second Stage Theater. Under the direction of Peter DuBois, it stars Michael Chernus, Tracee Chimo, America Ferrera, and Austin Lysy. And I'm here on opening night to celebrate with the company. Well, congratulations. It's another opening night for you, Terrence. How do you feel tonight?
Older. No, it's wonderful to see something you wrote 25 years ago, 30, I don't know. It's in that area. I'm in the ballpark. It brings back a lot of wonderful memories. It makes me very proud that I still stand by the play. I enjoyed myself this evening watching this play. I didn't think, oh my God, what was I thinking of when I wrote it? So that was kind of nice, and love this production. I love a new generation of theater artists bringing their talents to it, because I was looking at some pictures earlier today. We were all very young when we did that play. Nathan looks like a child. Christine looks like a teenager.
Yeah.
So it's lovely. I'm very happy, and it's gratifying. And let's put it this way, I'd rather have my plays revived than forgotten.
Yeah.
So.
I was talking to a lot of people over the past week about this play. This was such an important play when you wrote it originally, because we were all living through what this play talks about. Yeah. And it's just as poignant today as it was then. Do you feel the same way?
Yes, I think the play is about love. It's about mortality. And it's about fear of death, a fear of each other. I think it's a play about intimacy. And that's why I think it's still relevant, and it's not a play about our fear of AIDS, But I mean, that's there. I mean, very properly, the production says Fire Island Pines and gives a date. But I think an audience soon forgets. I hope they do. That we're looking back, but it's also very with us, these issues, and I think they're very. I'm very moved by the four characters who are fish out of water in this play, and they're used to being in the majority, and suddenly they're the ones being looked at and observed. And I feel good tonight. It's the only way I can put it.
And your director, Peter DuBois.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of his work. So when Carol suggested him, I said, look no further, because then when we met, we hit it off. And some of these actors, Tracee Chimo and Michael Chernus, are both actors whose work I've been seeing over the past couple of years. And of course, America, I knew from Ugly Betty. And Austin was a new talent for me, and he's wonderful. So I love working with people younger than myself. Keeps me on my toes, so that's good.
And being back here at Second Stage.
Love being back here. It's one of my favorite physical places to do a play in New York. The relationship between the stage and the audience, the angle of those seats, the height of that stage. There is not a bad seat in that house. I think it's one of the most perfect theaters in New York, architecturally, and just the way it's laid out.
Well, I know you're off to a holiday. Have the best time. It's been quite a season for you.
Yes,
Can you put it all into perspective, what it means to you, or is it all just a blur? Is it all surreal?
It's not a blur. It's very real, but I'm also really tired. I've been in rehearsal pretty much since Mothers and Sons closed. And I've done some workshops that you don't even know about. I'm working on an opera you don't know about. So I've been doing a lot of other stuff too, and we're getting ready for the movie of Masterclass. So it's not just the stuff you know about.
Sure.
So believe me, I'm tired, but very happy.
How do you feel tonight?
I feel great. It was a fun performance. Audience was filled with our friends and people who love us. And we have a day off tomorrow, which is the best news, because this was our 11th show in a row. So we're exhausted, but we're having a great time.
This is such a powerful play, the journey you all take us on. When did you first fall in love with this play?
Well, I was sent the play in June, and I had never read it, and I'd never seen it. But I read it, and on my second or third reading, it just stayed with me, and I just knew that there was a lot to discover in it, and that there were so many layers to the storytelling, and that seemed really exciting as an actor to explore. And I still feel like on some levels, I'm still exploring those layers and finding and discovering new things.
And what you love about who you play? Talk about the woman you play.
I play Sally, and Sally's going through kind of a tough time. She's in her head a lot, and she's overwhelmed with the amount of feelings that are coming up. Her brother's passed away of AIDS and has left her this house, and she's unsure about who she was and how she behaved in the relationship with her gay brother who dies of AIDS ultimately, and she's also having trouble having babies, and so her relationship is a bit fraught with her husband, and I don't want to give too much away, but there's just a lot happening for Sally, and it's emotionally it's a big journey she takes every night. So it's great, and it's a challenge as an actor. And it's that thing of theater. It's one thing to do it on camera, and then it's locked and loaded and great. You only had to do it wonderfully one time, and you're solid. But this is going out every night, and she changes night to night. She keeps surprising me, and the writing and the play keeps surprising me, and I guess that's as much as you can ask for.
And working with this wonderful cast.
Yeah. When they sent the script, Tracee Chimo and Michael Chernus were already attached, and I had been huge fans of theirs for years, watching their work. I'd seen Tracee in a number of her productions, and recently in Bad Juice, and Michael Chernus I knew from around and his work, and so the cast was a big reason why I wanted to do the play. We have a great team, and we're out there every night, and we're not alone. We have each other, and so I think your coworkers are a big element of what the experience feels like.
Tracee was saying it was like putting 4 stories together, because so many of you stop and you do these inner monologues or whatever, then you go back into it. And she said it was so interesting working on all of that and finding that when the audience got into the mix.
Yeah, I felt for a long time that my character was in a different play. And I think in a way all 4 of these characters are in their own play. And I think that what Terrence is tapping into there, even though it's uncomfortable to play and uncomfortable to watch, is this thing about real life where we are all in our own story in our head, and what that means sometimes is that we're not connecting because we're in our own version of the story, and so it's uncomfortable in a way to be on stage and feel like no one's connecting, but it starts there and it goes somewhere much more much more electrifying, and everybody eventually connects. And I think that's what's fun to watch about it.
And getting to know Terrence McNally.
It was wonderful. Terrence was around for our rehearsals and our previews, and he's a sweetheart. I mean, he gave us a lot of support and love, and it's amazing to have a legend like him in the room when you're doing his work that hasn't been done in New York in 25 years. So it was just wonderful to be in a room with him.
My final question for you is, when you took your bow tonight, back on a New York stage, do you remember what you were thinking?
I was just looking for my husband, and I found him. But I could hear his laugh throughout. I clocked where he was in the theater. But it was fun. To have so many people you love in the audience watching you, it reminds me of being, it actually tonight reminded me of the first time I was ever on stage. I was in 3rd grade, and I did Romeo and Juliet, and I remember the feeling of opening night. And I think opening night always takes me back to that very first opening night I ever had when I played the apothecary in Romeo and Juliet. and I was 8 or 9 or something. But the excitement never wanes.
Well, congratulations. It's opening night. How do you feel tonight?
I feel great. I feel really good. I mean, I feel tired. We've had a bunch of shows in a row, but really good. And I'm just so happy that this play is being revived again and brought back to life, because I think it's a really important play. And it just feels so great that it's happening now in New York.
You know, we spoke very early on in the process. What was it like working on this and putting the whole show together?
It's a mammoth piece. It's 3 acts. So much happens throughout the course of the play. So, you know, it was really fun. It was a lovely rehearsal room. It's a great group of people. But putting it in front of an audience was like a whole other piece of the puzzle. So the last time we talked, we were in our little cocoon. Totally. And then, you know, there were a couple rough previews where you're just figuring it out and making mistakes in front of people. But then, you know, there's this moment where you're like, oh, this is what it is. And I think it's a piece that really begs to be shared with an audience.
And playing this role and working with this cast.
It's really so fun to be working with a cast that is so responsive and so easy to work with, and the play moves so quickly, and there's so much comedy in it that you really need to rely on each other, and this group has that in spades. And this role is really fun. It's really tricky. He's really funny, but he's also got this deep sadness underneath. And, he has this one monologue where he says he thinks he's losing his mind. He doesn't remember how to tie his shoes or tie his tie. And so it's so fun to get to do both, yeah.
My final question is, when you took your bow tonight, do you remember what you were thinking?
I was thinking, I'm hungry. and just, it was really beautiful. They all gave us a nice big standing ovation, and it felt really nice.
It is opening night. I told you, you could do no wrong. How do you feel tonight?
I feel really good. It's been, this was show number 11, so I feel a little bit like, a little tired, but I feel so good. And my whole family is here tonight, and it's just nice to celebrate this play with everybody and have a night of happiness. And yeah.
This is such a great play. When were you first aware of the play?
I studied it when I was in school, and I loved Chloe, and I remember thinking, I'm not old enough. And I'm still technically not old enough, but I can play her now, and so I feel really I just feel really blessed that Terrence and Peter approached me to do this play. They approached me back in February, and it was just such a gift. I felt like it was a little sign, like, oh yay, it's time to do Chloe.
Well, they cast this. This is a much younger cast than they've ever done before, so you are perfectly cast.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think 35 is right in there. Yeah.
This is such a great role. He writes such beautiful characters with all their flaws and arcs. Talk about Chloe and what you love about her.
Oh, I love that if she stops for 1 second, I feel like she'll crumble. Like she'll feel something that maybe she's not supposed to be feeling, and so it's really, really fun to get to play the mania of her and what that means in telling the story.
Was she easy to find?
She was a little hard for me to find because she's very different from me, and so it was a little bit of a challenge, especially being married to the man that I'm married to in this play. Her husband is not an easy man, and it was hard for me to kind of not judge her for staying with him, but then I realized, well, she's just way more forgiving than I am as a person, and I ended up falling in love with her because of that trait, and almost envying her a little bit, and wishing that I was maybe that forgiving.
No, I love that. That's perfect. We spoke very early on. It was like so early in the process.
Yeah.
What was it like putting the play together?
Yeah, it was hard, to be honest with you. This is a difficult play. It's not an easy show. It's 3 acts, first of all, and second of all, it's disjointed. There's a lot of moments where we're all having our own inner monologues that the other person is on stage that we're talking about, and maybe they're right here, but they're not hearing us. And so it was very, very interesting to try to get off book for a show like that when the lines are coming from everyone else's worlds. So it was like putting 4 worlds together, in 3 weeks, which was tricky, but we did. I feel like we did it. And I also feel like those first especially 2 weeks of previews were really about, we were still rehearsing and finding the show. It had not found itself yet until that third week of previews, I think, and then we sort of fell into it.
You know, I'm sure the audience played a big part in this because there's so much comedy and pathos and everything else, and they're that other character that sort of drive you along, right?
Yes, they are. You sort of need them for this play.
Like pacing.
For pacing, exactly, because it is hard to find pacing in the rehearsal room with this play. Absolutely, because it is sort of, it's coming from, like I said, all different worlds. Yeah.
Working with the cast.
I love it. I love America. We have a ball together in the dressing room, and she's just so much fun to play with on stage. And I love Austin, and getting to have him be my husband has just been such a joy. But I will say that Michael Chernus is just he's my special guy up there, and there's no one quite like him. And if I could do everything with him, I would.
And having Terrence McNally around, what that whole experience is like. One of the best playwrights we have.
I think he's one of the best that we have, and this is actually one of my favorite plays of his. That's my personal taste, and having him around and having I've had lots of phone calls with Terrence actually, where he would give me some really inspiring notes, which I've never experienced before, where a playwright, kind of will come to an actor and be like, it's actually this. And I appreciated it coming from Terrence because I have such I have a big amount of respect for him as a person and as a playwright. And so it was a wonderful experience to get to know Terrence, yeah.
He's the man that created these characters, so he knows them better than anybody and how to get inside them.
He sure does, yeah. And he really taught me quite a bit, actually, about Chloe.
But I love what you told me about how you dealt with her. So that was the key to unlock her for you?
Yeah.
Forgiving her?
Yeah, of understanding her forgiveness.
Accepting her.
Accepting her, yeah, and not judging her for staying with this man. Wow. Even though Tracee probably would leave this guy's ass. But, I had to remember.
You're an actress.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, when you took your bow tonight, do you remember what you were thinking?
I was so exhausted.
Everybody's telling me that. I love it.
I don't remember. I was so exhausted, and then I saw my mother. My mother has red hair, and so I saw my mother, and I was like, I just wanted to cry because I love her so much. I never get to see her, so it's nice to have her here. Yeah.
No, this is some journey you all take us on emotionally with this piece.
Yeah, and she's never seen me really play an adult. This is really the first adult I've ever played so far in New York. Most of my characters have been a little more childish than this one. Like this lady has kids, and so my mother's never seen me with the husband, and so I'm sure I haven't talked to her yet, and I'm so looking forward to seeing her and seeing what she thought. Yeah.
It is opening night. How do you feel tonight?
I feel good. It's been quite a haul, but I think we're all feeling good. It was a good show tonight. Had a good run. I mean, it's such a nice, supportive group of people that we've all had each other's backs, and it's good. It's good. It's good to finally get it up. Yeah.
You and I spoke very early on. I think it was like the second day of rehearsal or something.
Yeah.
What was it like working on this play and putting it all together?
It was a challenge. There's definitely a lot going on, and sort of finding the balance of everything was a real challenge. I can honestly say this is definitely one of the more challenging things I've ever worked on. But it was also thrilling in the same way because of that. You know what I mean? Like trying to find the ways to tell this story correctly and walk the line between the darkness that's happening and the humor and the hope and all of those things. It was a lot. It was fun. It was grueling, and it was fun.
Talk about the play itself, what you love about the play and what you love about the man that you play.
Well, the thing I love about the play is, I think, what we talked about earlier. It's just, my favorite thing about it is just it shows how far we've come. Especially as it just in the culture, in terms of the general knowledge and acceptance and the increasing, normality of homosexuals and their right to be people and all of that. John, he's great. It's interesting to play someone who has created this facade for himself and finds himself in a moment where those things are being slowly broken down, and he kind of can't contain it anymore. I think a person like that gets to a certain place in their life and they think that they've got it all figured out and they've got it all on the ball, and then a cancer diagnosis, and that world starts crumbling. So it's really interesting to find all those different layers and colors. Yeah.
And working with the cast.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're all great. I mean, I've known Chernus for years and years and years, and have never gotten to work with him, so that's been really fun. And I've known a little bit and admired both America and Tracee, and they're all. I mean, it's great. It's a really good room. It's been a really supportive room, especially during a difficult process. It's been really fun.
So when you took your bow tonight, opening night, do you remember what you were thinking?
I was thinking I'm glad to have a day off tomorrow. Yeah, I think that was pretty much it.
How do you feel tonight?
Oh, I feel really great, really excited. I'm so proud of these actors and of the work that they're doing, and it's great bringing Terrence's play to life again.
Where did you first fall in love with this play?
I fell in love with it actually in 1992. I read it in college, and I had a much different point of view on the play than I do now. And then what happened was I was on my way to London to direct a show, and I got a call from Chris Burney literally on the tarmac saying, "You have to read the play." And I reread the play, and then Terrence and I had a conversation about a week after I landed, and really hit it off. He and I first met at Sons of the Prophet at the Roundabout, and that's where we first really connected.
So talk about this cast you've assembled.
Oh, I love our cast. It was kind of a no-brainer, this company, and we wanted to cast slightly younger. And they all just tapped into a contemporary energy that's in the script that I think is really important. There was no sense of reverence over what the script had been in the past. It was much more about what this company could bring to it, and I think each of them have their own gifts. It's like there's a level of comedy and pathos and emotion that each of these actors have that's so wonderful to show off with the piece.
Can you sum up what it's like working at Second Stage?
Yeah, I can. I mean, I ran into you on 43rd Street during tech, and so you're in tech and you have tons of support, you have tons of people helping you out and helping to build your ideas, and I just think it's one of the greatest theaters in the city. I think the Rem Koolhaas design is brilliant. It's brilliant for comedy. That wall, that sort of shimmery wall on the left-hand side, I think is a gift to comedy. I think Carol and Chris and the team they've assembled is fantastic and highly supportive. They're very hands-on. They're very with you every step of the way. Some teams, some artistic teams, they leave you alone. They just you just go in and you do the work. And these guys are really there with you every step of the way, and that's a supportive feeling.